Hello there, people of the internet. So I'm going through doing some reorganizing, looking for particular guns and whatnot, and as a result I'm like moving things around and whatnot. And while I was moving things around, I got this pile of rifles in front of me, and I think I've got all of my M95s from the YouTube collection sitting here, so I figured I'd go ahead and make a video on my Steyr M95s. Now that being said, I'm going to include my 8890s in this as well, just because they are kind of intertwined with one another. The 8890 is like the previous version, like the black powder designed version of the Steyr M95. Steyr M95 came out because the 8890 is just not that great of a locking system to be able to withstand smokeless powder pressures. Now, all that being said, I got the hiccups. I am sorry. Apologize about that. Let's go ahead and get started. I don't even know where to start with this big pile that I've got here. Okay. This is my Steyr 8890 that I did a refurbishment on. This is actually one of the first rifles I've ever really tried to refurbish, and I think that it turned out really well. All things considered, this right here is an RTI buy. All these M95s are from RTI because that's the best place to getting M95 or 8890. All things considered, whenever I did this, I had no power tools of any kind. I had like some steel wool, a wire brush, and some sandpaper. And besides that, I had what I needed to be able to blue the metal and clean everything up. And so that's what I did. So I wanted to clean this up in a manner that makes it not necessarily look like it was refurbished, although it still does look quite nice. So I did a cold bluing process to it, nothing real special about that. I don't I don't really know what else to add to this one. The wood on this particular one was broken, and it was because of that broken wood that I decided to do this refurbishment, because the rifle had taken some damage. I wasn't negating any significant historic pieces because the rifle, like I said, had already taken damage. So the restoration process, it's not like it devalued the rifle because the rifle is already busted up. So the stock itself has this massive crack going down the side, which again is one of the reasons why I did not feel bad about cleaning up the stock and whatnot. We got this big, looks like wood plug right there that was not done by me. Metal, like I said, has been reblued. This particular one is missing a extractor on it, but I'm sure it would still fire just fine. I would just need like a screwdriver or a cleaning rod or something to be able to get that case out. The rifling on this one is actually quite good. As a matter of fact, basically all of my M95s that I've gotten from RTI have had quite good rifling. This, along with all of my other M95s, are chambered in 8x50 Steyr, which is a round that is hard to get. I'm sure somebody's going to tell me about Milcert Munitions, which is currently making them. Fantastic. If you can manage to get your hands on some of that ammo without them going out of stock, then by all means, hats off to you. I make mine from 7.62x54R brass. It's very, very easy. I literally just use a 8mm Mauser bullet to expand the case a little bit. I don't have any issues with cracked necks or anything like that, and then I trim it back a little bit. I got a Lyman trimmer around here somewhere. Do I have it here so I can show you guys? I do not. Anyway, Steyr 8890. Have not actually shot this one. I just never really took it out to shoot it. It's just one of those ones that has fallen in the back burner, I guess. Mostly because it doesn't have an extractor, and I got other 8890s that do. So what is this one? Aha. This is a Steyr carbine. This particular one was clearly a long rifle at some point, because you can tell that from our long rear sight. Your actual carbines will have a short rear sight on it. I'm not sure if this was done by Ethiopia, or if it was done... Oh, my computer just shut off. Oh, it just restarted. Hey, you calm down over there. I'm not sure if this cut-down conversion was done by Ethiopia or Steyr themselves, but I do know that the rifling in this particular one is quite good. I do have one particular carbine, which looks like it's really been through the ringer, that has rifling that is visible, but a little rough, and I'm betting it's not going to be very accurate when and if I take it out of the range. Every single one of these rifles is functional, though, so big thumbs up on that. besides that, I don't have much else to add to this one either. I like how lightweight and handy the carbines are for the M95s. I do know that your long rifles, they're going to have more velocity, more power behind the cartridges, but your carbines, they just... being able to carry around a full powered rifle in a relatively short, lightweight package like what I have here, this is just a really delightful rifle to shoot. And being in 8x50, it does not kick like your 8x56 carbines do. As a matter of fact, the 8x50 has about roughly the same power as a 30-40 Krag, so you don't necessarily have to worry about a lot of force being put onto you from one of these carbine rifles. Alright, what's next? I got this one right here. This is one I've shown off on the channel before. This is a Steyr 8890 that clearly has some kind of I don't necessarily want to call it battle damage or a battlefield repair, because it could have been done inside of a shop somewhere, but this is clearly a very crude repair. The stock on this thing had broken off, which really sucks, because this is a gorgeous rifle. Look at the tiger striping on the wood and whatnot. This would otherwise be a really nice rifle if it was not for that those pieces of metal there holding the stock together. But even with that, I think that's a pretty cool addition to the rifle. So just like all the other rifles, this one right here is a straight pull. This particular one is a little bit more, how should I say, gritty than the other ones, but I'm still willing to bet that it would fire. So again, these right here are not that great at handling smokeless powder. I typically load 8x50 with black powder whenever I shoot these rifles. I've got videos up on the channel of me doing exactly that if you want to go see it. This one right here I've also never shot, but the rifling in it is quite good. And I'm willing to bet that if I were to take this out and shoot it, it would shoot quite well. I don't know how well the stock would hold up, but I'm sure the rifle itself would be quite accurate. I might want to actually fix that stock though. This is my favorite M95 that I have. This is one I've taken out and shot on the channel before. It has really good rifling inside of it. The bolt on this particular one is quite smooth. Like, quite smooth. I really, really like it. This one is a carbine made from the factory as a carbine. You can tell that from our short sight right here. We are missing the little thing that is the ladder. I'm not going to shoot this thing past 100 yards, so I don't care. Besides that, stacking rod, the crown on it looks good, the rifling is nice and sharp. I need to get some in-block clips for these rifles. Typically I take these out and I shoot them single shot, because I basically don't have a whole lot of ammo for them. But this particular one, I don't know what kind of wood this is, but it's a different wood than the other Steyr carbines I have. It's like a lighter wood, and it's a lighter weight wood. Like, this one is noticeably lighter than the other Steyr carbines I have. I think it's also a little bit shorter than the real, like, long rifles that have been cut down. Let me check on that. Maybe about half an inch shorter, give or take. So, it is shorter, for what that's worth. Not a real significant amount. But yeah, whatever wood that's made of is quite nice. Alright, hold on. I gotta move a Graw rifle out of the way. Okay, what's next? Who the heck are you? This is my only Steyr M95 long rifle that I have in the YouTube collection. So, this is another one that has some particularly good rifling inside of it. I'm also pretty sure I've taken this one out and I've shot it on the channel. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure I took it out and I shot it on the channel. We do have a broken handguard up here, which is pretty typical for your M95s coming out of RTI. It's just these rifles were ran really, really hard throughout the years, and so as a result, especially during the packing and shipping process overseas, and during the storage in subpar conditions over in Africa, they've seen better days, especially in terms of the wood. However, the bores in most of these M95s seem to be quite good. So this one right here, not exactly the smoothest M95 that I have, but I've shot it, it goes bang, it's got a working firing pin, etc., etc. So I'm quite happy with that one. Hold on. Let me show off this. There's a little bit of trench art on the stock of this thing. I actually had some guy yell at me and tell me I was overthinking things, and that this right here was the mark for a kernel. And to that, I'm just going to say I don't think the Ethiopians in, what was it, the 1800s at some point, maybe the 1900s, I'm not entirely sure when it is that the Ethiopians got their hands on these rifles, but I'm pretty sure during that particular time, corporal was not a rank in the Ethiopian military. Okay, this is my Steyr 8890 that I take out and I shoot on a pretty gosh darn regular basis whenever I do go out and shoot these rifles. This one is complete, it has the extractor, it's relatively smooth. The back of the bolt is bent ever so slightly, so every now and then I'll pull the trigger and the sear will only drop about halfway, and I gotta go get in there and I gotta fix it. So that's really not that big of a deal as far as I'm concerned because of how smooth and how accurate this thing is. The rifling on this particular one is quite sharp. I'm quite pleased with it. I mostly shoot black powder through this, but I do have a couple of smokeless powder loadings that are essentially gallery loads that I feel comfortable shooting through the 8890 system. Okay, I think I have one more over here. Yep, there she is. This is another Steyr carbine. This one was also made from the factory as a carbine, you can tell from our short sight right there. And this particular one is, I mean, it's good, but I'm pretty sure that the stock on it is handmade because it feels a lot wider than my other M95 stocks do. Like, significantly wider. Holding onto it is very different from holding on to the other ones. This particular one also has rifling on it that is not that great. I've never actually taken this one out to shoot it, but the rifling is not that great. I'm sure we're not going to get that great of accuracy. Whenever I'd gotten this thing, it was not functional. And it wasn't functional because the stock was actually blocking the trigger. I got to get in there and clean it up a little bit more because every now and then I have some troubles with that stock just very barely blocking that trigger still. But the way that these work, the trigger in there kind of, like the sear kind of pivots like this, and with this being a handmade stock, there was a little bit of wood in the way, so I got in there with a little chisel, chiseled it down, and now I got a rifle that actually would go bang if I were to take it out and shoot it, assuming the firing pin is not broken. So that is my M95 collection. How long is this video going? It's long enough. Okay, that is all of them, right? Yeah, I think so. That's the only problem with having the collection that I do. Sometimes things get away from you. Okay, well, that's my M95s. I hope you guys enjoyed the little look into what it is that I have here inside my collection. I don't know if I'm going to put this video up. I basically just did it for fun because they were all laying right there. And I was like, hey, why not? Let's look at those. Appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below is a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. You guys go off. Have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see you on the next episode. Since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. The poor man's Garrett. Shame that bolt action shotguns aren't more mainstream.